look at page 43 this week. We're going to learn about sequences. A sequence is a tune pattern that is repeated starting on a different note. Here you can see that the second bar has the same tune pattern as the first bar, but it is one note higher. If you can remember, we learned about an ostinato in grade 1, so you want to highlight this before we start. An ostinato is a rhythm pattern that keeps repeating with the same notes, but a sequence is different. It can have the same rhythm pattern but different notes. So you can see this rhythm pattern, we have 6 quavers on our first bar, and the second bar also has 6 quavers. But look at the melody, it's moving one step higher each time, starting from C to G, and then it moves down a third to E. Let's take a look at the next pattern. The next pattern starts on D and it goes a step higher each time up to A, and then a third down to F. So basically this is the same pattern with the same number of intervals, but you can see it has shifted one note higher. So this we call a sequence. Let's take a look at exercise 1. Okay, so in this exercise all we have to do is bracket the sequence as it moves higher or lower. So let's take a look at the first question. So you can see there's a repeated note pattern with the same rhythm that changes every bar. So you have a crotchet, 2 quavers and a crotchet, 2 quavers and a crotchet on every bar. So you can see this whole melody has shifted one step lower each time. So the first pattern starts on G, next pattern starts on F, and the next pattern starts on E. So all you have to do is bracket the sequence and show it as it is. Let's take a look at the next. We have some more sequences. Here we have the same rhythm pattern, C an octave higher, and then it goes a step lower each time. So the next pattern starts on B an octave higher to the next B, and it goes one step lower each time. And the last pattern starts on A and it goes up an octave and a step lower each time. So let's do the same for the rest of the sequences and bracket it. If you ever see the same rhythm pattern, going the same direction, that's where you can easily spot a sequence. The last one, we have to include the minim also into this rhythm pattern. So we have 2 quavers, a crotchet and a minim, and this is the main melody that has been shifted one step higher each time. So just remember, a sequence does not have to move one step higher or lower each time. It can move 2 steps or several steps higher, and you can shift the melody any amount of steps you want. Okay, let's take a look at the second question. Here is the section of a tune. Make a sequence by repeating it twice, one note higher each time. Make a sequence by repeating it twice, one note higher each time. So all we have to do is copy this exact same melody one step higher each time. So we are starting on F, and F will move one step higher to G, and the next note it goes up an octave to the next F. So we are going to move this G up an octave to the next G, and then it goes a step lower and another step lower. Okay, let's move on to the next and do the same. So we are going a third higher and then 2 steps down each time and a step higher. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Here is a section of a tune. Make a sequence by repeating it twice, one note lower each time. So this time we're gonna have to shift this melody one step lower. You can see this melody is starting from G. I'm gonna move this note one step down to an F, and then it moves up a step higher, and I'm gonna shift that note also one step down and back to the same note, and we need another bar line, and finally we are ending on E. Next we are going to D, that's it. Let's move on to the next question and do the same. Let's move on to the next. A third higher and a third below. That's it for this week, and I hope you enjoy this lesson.